Small island developing states. They're known as SIDS, and they consist of some of the most beautiful in the world, considered by many people to be ideals of paradise. The Atlantic, the Pacific, the China Sea, the Indian Ocean, the crystal waters are decorated with these pearls of beauty. There is always a but. These islands are also some of the most vulnerable, some of the most fragile, some of the most delicate in the world. 30 years ago, the international community recognised their unique vulnerabilities and designated SIDS a special case for environment and development. The Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action was adopted by 189 countries. But 30 years after this recognition, the situation remains largely unchanged and still critical. Now, 3 SIDS conferences later, 5,000 ministers, leaders, heads of state, delegates from over 100 nations have arrived in Antigua to change the world. SIDS4 has come to Antigua, and it needs to make a difference. So, what is SIDS4 all about? Join me and my guests from a number of small developing states and other places to find out why this is so important, what it means for not just Antigua and Barbuda, but for small island developing states everywhere, and the global community.
La usa moa la usa moa ea lea tua yolo fa'avae monilea lea.
We have to listen. And it's important that no matter who you are within Antigua and Barbuda, no matter what position you hold, what job you're doing, you have to recognize that your country is changing, the natural environment is changing, and you have to take some efforts to try and see what we can do to mitigate that, because we want to leave a country behind for our children and our grandchildren to enjoy.
La usa moa la usa.
And in the Pacific, it's called the Ring of Fire, where a lot of disaster happens, and therefore, how do you become sustainable in your livelihoods and resilient to the disasters that are there?
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you have gathered at a crucial moment for our planet and for all of us who share it. Small island developing states exemplify in so many ways the challenges facing our world, from rising sea levels to food and water insecurity, from ever more intense disasters to the disproportionate impact of global shocks.
Small island developing states are exceptional, exceptionally beautiful, exceptionally resilient, but exceptionally vulnerable. Your unique geography puts you at the mercy of climate chaos, rising sea levels, and land degradation. Climate change is an existential crisis for the entire human family, but SIDS are on the front lines.
This is what SIDS4 is all about, and now it's time for action. This conference will make a difference with the development of the 10-year plan to take to the rest of the world. It cannot be an overnight solution. This will be an action plan to change the world for small island developing states everywhere and for the global community. In part 2, we look at one of the side fora of SIDS4. The Gender Equality Forum that took place in Nelson's Dockyard looked at the challenges still faced by women in small island developing states and the contribution of women to the future of these states and, again, to the global community.
Moa ea lea tu